From Jaguar News Network, I'm Tavi Belser.
I'm Katie Farthing.
I'm Sumaya Sharari.
I'm Austin McMurtry.
And this is the Jagcast, where our mission is to keep you updated on news in the school, state, and nation in a way that everyone can understand.
In school news, the Mississippi Department of Education began looking into year-round school back in 2020. Since then, 39 out of the 137 school districts in the state have adopted a year-round school schedule. This school year, Madison County schools have decided to test a modified calendar. Here we have JNN's Tavi Belser, who interviewed our superintendent, Charlotte Seals.
Hey Jags, it's Tavi, and today we have a special guest with us. We have Superintendent Seals, and we will be talking about the introduction of the modified year-round schedule that has been introduced in Madison County schools. So, first off, thank you so much for having me and to taking time out of your day to sit down for this interview, and I really appreciate it. So my first question is, how did the district come to the decision of integrating year-round school schedule?
That's a great question. And, there's a lot of information and speculation going around about a modified calendar. So I'll start with, we have not fully decided yet whether or not we're going to move to what has become known as the modified calendar around Mississippi. And so the other point I want to make before we get into more details about it is the fact that there's a difference between year-round school and a modified calendar. What you are seeing in Mississippi are a number of districts that have gone not to a year-round school, but to a modified calendar in which just redistributes when students are in school, but the total number of days does not change. So in Mississippi, by law, in our public schools, students, we must provide schooling for 180 days. So with the modified, or some people call it balanced calendar, you still go to school a total of 180 days, but there's a redistribution of the days during the summer. Versus a year-round calendar where there are a few places across the country where students do go to school more what we would call year-round and just take breaks for holidays. So we want to make sure that we're clear on that first. And so because a number of school districts have gone to the modified calendar, our district decided that we wanted to study and see, is this something that our community, school community, would be interested in. In a modified calendar, you're basically reducing the summer by, typically students are off for about 11 to 12 weeks during the summer. And so with the modified calendar, you may be, your summer would be reduced to more like, say, 8 weeks. Okay. And then those weeks, those 3 weeks or 2 weeks that are shortened during the summer, or you put those weeks in the break during the school year. So you would have a fall break of 2 weeks. 1 week, everybody would be off. Students, staff, the whole shebang. And then the second week would be what is typically called an intersession. And students and teachers may have the opportunity to come back to school. It could be for enrichment or for remediation. And teachers would opt. And if they opt to come and teach during that intersession, they would get paid additional dollars, but they would not be required. And students wouldn't be required. You'd be invited. Let's say that a student is struggling in third grade math, then the parent may say, okay, I want my child to participate in this intersession, or you're trying to do credit recovery and things like that in high school. Okay. And so, but it's optional. So theoretically, you could have 2 weeks off in the fall, and then the same thing in the spring. You have your spring break that we're all off, and then there could be a second week in which there could be an intersession, providing additional opportunities for students. So, the premise around that would be that it also could help academically, but also could affect teacher and student burnout. And by the time you get to October, everybody's getting into the rural groove of things, and there is a certain amount, we need a break. Same thing in the spring. And then, like I said, maybe there's a chance for students who maybe are struggling academically or who want to have enrichment to have some additional opportunities. So last year we initiated a survey in the spring to gauge interest in the modified calendar. And there was some interest. I don't know if you recall, but I did a video for the community, for parents, and did a video with the staff. We educated everybody. We first wanted to educate everyone about the modified calendar because, like I said, there is a difference between modified and year round. So when we so we did the surveys, and there was some interest from the school community. So then we decided to let's form a group. We talked about it with our principals at our admin retreat, and we took a group. We recently taken a group of educators to look at a school district that is doing the modified calendar. Also, in the meantime, you'll know that this year we adjusted our calendar a little bit, and this year we had a full fall break. In fact, I think students were off on Friday, then Monday through Friday, so a 6-day break for our kiddos. And so we felt like that was a good way to kind of say, okay, is this something that we like? And so, in fact, we've done another survey. We did a survey of the teachers, and right now we have a survey that is open for parents to complete. So that's kind of where we are. We'll take all that information and then study it and look at all the pros, cons, because there are, it'll be additional costs to do a modified calendar, but there are pros and cons. And so we will look at all of that and look at the input that we received on the survey, and then go from there to make a recommendation to the school board.
Okay, that was really interesting. So yeah. So my next question is, do you think that this new schedule will curb the teacher turnover rate? Because there has been an epidemic across the nation where teachers are leaving schools due to stress and how it impacts them. And also, do you think that it will prevent student burnout?
I think the answer is potentially yes to both of those. I think we are in the middle of a teacher shortage. And being a teacher, being an educator is hard. And, in our district, we want to do the very best. We have high expectations for our teachers and for our students. And that means a lot of hard work, and there are lots of challenges. And so the idea of needing mental health breaks here and there is very warranted for both students and teachers. And so I don't think it will solve all the issues going to a model. I don't think it, but I think it would definitely make it perhaps more attractive for a teacher, and a teacher can see, and a student, that we are trying to be intentional and understanding that you have to have work-life balance.
As a student, the fall break really did help me and help me not burn out as early. So that was really helpful personally as a student.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And that's the feedback that we've been getting, that okay, to have that week off, it was an opportunity to kind of recharge and get reset. And you kind of like, okay, I can make it through the rest of the semester, because you realize you just had a fall break. Okay, and then in a couple weeks we will have Thanksgiving. And then after that we'll be in school for about 3 weeks, and then you will have your 2 weeks off at Christmas. And so, sometimes you need those you need to look out into the future and know, hey, I can make it, because I'm going to get that opportunity to come up for air in 2 or 3 weeks or whatever like that. Yes. And we do so much. As a student, I know that you're super involved, and our kiddos in all of our schools are very involved, and they're working hard in our classrooms. Teachers are working really hard and trying to do all the other things outside of that. So yes, definitely understand the need to come up for air. I think it was enjoyed by all. Yeah.
My next question is, so the pandemic really impacted the school environment and how school works, and it kind of created a learning gap for some students. Do you think that this modified calendar will help close that gap as well as help prevent learning loss over the summer?
Well, I think the modified calendar definitely could potentially help close some of those gaps. I would say in studying our school data that we have pretty much feel like academically we're back to where we were before the pandemic. And that's because of a lot of hard work that's going on everybody's part. So for us, I think those academic, well, I'm not saying we're perfect at all. We still have many areas to improve upon. But from in terms of how we're performing now compared to where we were before the pandemic, we're back to where we were, if not a little bit better. But individual students come into the district with different needs, and so if a student does have some struggles, then there is an opportunity to intervene and provide some support. The flip of it is, though, you want to make sure that you're going to have enough students that are going to participate in. If we're going to put in, because if we do the modified calendar, we have to pay additional teacher salaries, and we have to provide transportation. Well, we're a pretty big district for Mississippi, and so you have to determine, is this the best return on our investment if we're going to sink that kind of money into it, or are we going to have enough students that are going to take advantage of it? And so it could be a lot of families are like, we just need the time to take it down. Now, if we're going to have high participation, that will be a different thing. I will also say that we feel in our district that we really put in place a huge tutoring program. And I don't know if you realize, but we have tutors in all of our schools, retired teachers who come back and serve. And so that's a really strong program that we've developed that really helps with closing those gaps for students. And I think we had that in place, and it went full speed ahead, obviously, when we came out on the other side of COVID. And so that really is what has, I think, one of the key factors that has propelled us back to closing those gaps and everything. So, yeah.
So, based on what you've seen so far in this year, what will the 2024-2025 school year look like?
Well, it's a little early to say, but we'll be making a decision about the calendar soon. I predict, don't hold me to it, but I predict that we'll probably have a fall break next year, similar to what I will say that. I think now whether or not we go to the modified calendar that I described, where there's 2 weeks and 2 weeks, I'm not sure. That's yet to be determined, but I feel like the fall break, based on what I am seeing and hearing, that it was a success all the way around the horn. So I think people will kind of want that full fall break moving forward.
And how do you think this modified calendar will affect sports and like other extracurriculars like summer camps?
Question. And I think we're still figuring it out, because while there are a number of districts that have moved to a modified calendar, a lot of districts haven't, and some districts won't move. We may not move to it. And so, I mean, as the saying goes, the show will go on. And so, teams, if let's say during the fall break, bands will still have their competitions to go to, and football games will still go on, and whatever sports that are happening in the spring, and students will be allowed, if their sport is in season during that fall break, they can still practice and things like that. So now, if you get to a point where the majority of the school districts in Mississippi have moved to a modified calendar, then I think that you may see some changes around that. But right now, I think I don't see any huge changes in the immediate future. Yeah.
So what's the backup plan if this schedule doesn't go through?
Which schedule doesn't go through?
Like the modified calendar.
Well, if we don't move to the modified calendar that I described earlier, with the 2 weeks in the fall and 2 weeks in spring, then I would think most likely the calendar will look similar to what this year's calendar has looked like.
Okay. And then my last question is, so many schools have adopted a 4-day school week across the nation. Was that ever an option for Madison County?
We have talked about it, just general discussion, but have not done any serious studying of that. I think in the cases where they've gone to a 4-day, one of the issues has been teacher shortage. And while Madison County definitely has felt some of the effects of that, we are not in a severe crisis with teachers. Do we have vacancies? Yes. Would we like to not have any vacancies? Yes. But we're not in a crisis mode the way some places are. And so when you go to a 4-day, and also 4-day cuts down on operations potentially, running buses, which saves money, running cafeterias, which saves money if you're only in school 4 days. The flip of it is many of our families, the parents are working. And so that's a huge impact, particularly on parents of elementary, middle school. And so what you're talking about is 4 days, and then what does the child do on that 5th day? And that's a big shift. Now, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, and did our teachers going to work on the 5th day? So you look at factors like that. I don't know that I see that on the horizon in the immediate future. Now, that may be something at some point that we study more, but I think also, and I could be wrong, what's the academic return on investment? Is there, so I would like to see how other school districts fare with it, because if you go to a 4-day, does it affect academic performance? If it doesn't, that's a good thing. But now if it does, that's something else to consider. And I think this takes time. It takes several years to see, is it a good move or whatever, and that type of thing. But I understand districts throughout the country thinking outside the box, because we do, like I said, dealing with the teacher burnout, shortage, and just the financial operations of for a district. If you don't, for us, not running buses for however many Fridays there are in the school year, you could potentially save a lot of money with that. That goes maybe to pay teachers more, so that they are more incentivized to stay in the classroom and things. So, but that's not something that we're studying seriously right now. Yeah, be something that we kind of watch and observe and learn from others.
Well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure talking with you.
I think that ultimately year-round school will be beneficial for students because it reduces summer learning losses because of the shorter summer break, and it reduces burnout amongst both teachers and students because of the frequent breaks throughout the year.
I think it's going to be a good thing if we decide to adopt it, but there are some things that I'm thinking about, how will it impact students with summer activities, like summer camps and summer programs and such, if our summer is shorter.
I think that it might be good since people get sometimes tired from studying and they just feel stressed out. So these breaks will provide for them more time to rest and study and be ready. And at the same time, it might be not beneficial for some people who likes to maybe study in the summer or go out to other places and they need more time. Maybe for people who live far away from their families who want to spend more time there.
I feel as if year-round school doesn't have any pros to it. I feel like it would, instead of what you were saying, decrease burnout, I feel like it didn't increase burnout, because a lot of people take that summer break time as their time of relax. Those 2 months, that's their time to ease back off all that tension that's built up because of school. But now I feel like all they're changing is they're adding breaks, taking away our summer. I don't really see how that is supposed to help, if anything.
I would say that even though we are getting more breaks throughout the year, only 2 weeks less of summer are being implemented. So we still have a full 7-week summer, which is basically 2 months. So I think that the summer learning losses, ultimately, the benefits of less education losses during the summer will outweigh the negative effects of a shorter summer. But I do think that this potentially could have a negative effect on students that are trying to complete internships, or they have jobs that last the whole summer, or like Samaya was saying, they travel overseas maybe to see their family during the summer and stay with them.
Or for elementary schools, where are the parents gonna like have their kids?
Yeah,
For like elementary and middle school ages, they can't really stay by themselves. So like, what programs will there be to be a place for these kids to go because they can't stay home because their parents have to work?
Leading off what you said, I feel like it's going to be really hard for daycares and things like that to just completely change how they operate.
Yeah.
And just certain pop-up weeks to start taking in kids and whatnot. And then also with the whole summer getting to, like, lessening thing, a lot of people use that summer to do summer school or graduate early, take those courses during that time.
Yeah.
It would change a lot of stuff. And even though it seems okay, only thing's changing is the educational industry. That's going to change a lot. Childcare, labor, jobs, everything's going to have to evolve around that now.
and it also like decreases the absence rate of students, since like they will have like some breaks during school, during like the school year. It reduces their absences, and also it reduces the saving money for the school and staff resources.
Yeah.
So like it helps, and at the same time, in this.
In state and local news, the Jackson Public School District has announced that they plan to close several schools due to declining student enrollment. According to JPS Superintendent Eric Green, the consolidations would benefit the district, citing the decline in enrollment, the investment to maintain aging buildings, decreasing reliance on emergency certification teachers, freeing up funding to invest in specialized school programs, and decreasing insurance costs by selling of demolished buildings that are not in use. In 2018, 4 elementary schools were closed, and in 2019, schools were closed in continuing efforts to fix this issue. The schools that will be shut down for this upcoming academic year include Clausell, Dawson, G.N. Smith, Green, Key, Lake, Lester, Oak Forest, Obama IB, Paynes, Shirley, Sykes, Wells, APAC Elementary Schools, Chastain and Witten Middle Schools, and Wingfield High School. JPS has lost roughly $107.7 million in total funding between 2016 and 2024, which is $12 million per year. Enrollment has declined by 4% over the past few years and is noticeably steeper in elementary schools. By closing these schools, JPS will be saving around $11.31 million in operating cost, reduce employment cost by $6.43 million, and cut total renovation costs by $174.21 million. I think that although these closures are the right move financially, they may ultimately do more harm than good. The move to close JPS schools has been received with a lot of criticism and even outrage from Jackson residents, who have cited issues from the soon-to-be vacant school buildings and concerns about closing 7 A-rated JPS schools as their reasons for opposing the closures. I think that, rather than acting immediately and closing schools for this upcoming academic year, the school board should seek long-term solutions for combating declining enrollment, and they should work to consolidate schools over an extended period of time.
And now with the international news. At the beginning of October, Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy was ousted from his position after attempting compromise with Democrat counterparts. After 3 weeks of voting, on October 25, 2023, the House of Representatives elected Representative Mike Johnson as the new Speaker of the House. Representative Johnson is a Republican representative of Louisiana's 4th District. I think that even though the removal of McCarthy threw the House into chaos, the situation will ultimately become more stable because the election of Mike Johnson was a victory of conservative Republicans, the majority party, and he is well liked and respected by both Democrats and Republicans.
Well, that's all we have for this episode. For more content, check out the JNN YouTube and Instagram at Jaguar News Network. And then I'm gonna try something. Do you guys want to